it's a matter of why would you do those things? Why would you circumambulate? And why would you prostrate? And the answer from a Buddhist point of view is because it opens up a space in you to allow for the possibility of change. That by venerating, because essentially those acts are physical acts of veneration of the memory of the Buddha or a space associated with the Buddha or holy beings, you're kind of creating a space in your mind, your busy, otherwise agitated, totally full mind, where the possibility of, I can be different, I could develop some spiritual qualities, I can let go of my neurotic ego obsession. All this can occur because you make the physical space and time for it to occur. You should, with these kind of practices, you'd only use them if they work for you. They're not obligatory for Buddhists to practice them. But if somebody, if you get a good explanation, you might find, well, that could be helpful for me. Also, there are ancillary practices. Nobody became enlightened, well, I don't think so, by such things, but they just help to create kind of the space in your mind for a little bit more attention to the teachings. That's the point of it. It's like when you meet somebody for the first time who's kind of going to be important to you, or you hope will be important, you kind of pay a bit of attention to them. You're not totally casual. So it's that, in a way, you could think of venerating a shrine, making prostrations to a shrine, or circumambulating as a way of just being respectful on an initial meeting. Of course, a shrine and Buddha statues and stupas and don't have minds. They're not looking at you and saying, "Is he being respectful?" It's for you. That this is an opportunity to have that gap, that space in which you can pay attention. Now, there's a second question I think attached to this, which is it not too Asian? Well, certainly where Buddhism went, such kind of respectful practices like prostrations and circumambulations often took on a local flavouring. For instance, the prostrations, the bowing done in Southeast Asia is quite different from the way Tibetans do prostrations. Which is the right one? Well, they're both right, because they're both just, cultural adaptations that still carry on, preserve the essential meaning and essential benefit of such a practice. So there's no way it's not the case that we always have to go on doing them in Asian ways. Maybe different styles or flavors will emerge again down the road in the history of Buddhism, and that will be fine. I think what's also necessary is that we should try to do them, especially if we're too proud and stiff. It's good for us to try to do them, especially if we're worried that people will laugh at us. That's also kind of good and amusing, because then you take yourself less seriously, which is always a very good thing to do. If somebody say, well, point to me where it's done very nicely, I would say, go to Bodhanath, the great, one of the main spiritual Buddhist centers in Nepal, on the outskirts of Kathmandu, where the great stupa was concentrated. You go there in the morning or go there in the evening when all the Tibetans who settle around there, and some of the local Nepali Buddhists too, are circumambulating around the stupa, and you see how it's done with beautiful ease and light and joy. And especially the young boys and young girls are dressed in their finest clothes. Most people have got a rosary in one hand and are counting the mantras. The young boys and young girls have got a keen eye for which other even more attractive young boys and girls are walking around. There's the coffee shops which you can peel off to once you've done one or two, or if you're particularly devout, 5 or 6 or 7 circumambulations. It's a beautiful, wonderful, happy time. And it's Buddhist. And those people, though they're conscious of what clothes people are wearing, and, like I said, the young boys and young girls, it's a good meeting place for them. It's all connected and organically a Dharma world that they're participating in. So if we can get to something like that in the West, this combination of happiness and joyfulness, light-heartedness, and yet at the same time, serious appreciation for Buddha and the qualities that Buddha represents, that would be great. Right now we'll be a bit clumsy and a bit kind of self-conscious, but we should try gradually to make it, to domesticate it in this way. That will be really great. So I think we should try them in the West. They may mutate, but we should try them. I'm not for kind of inventing new Western Buddhist rituals, because I think they'd be too intellectual and too artificial at the moment. But maybe they'll evolve. We shall see. But yeah, go to Bodha, see how it's done really in the Buddhist culture. And the coffee shops are great there now. And many of the baristas are ex-nuns and monks, so they're very good too.